Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Hero Podcast 64. My name is Ryan G from ADS Aligned Strategy, but of course, the Kingmaker, your success maker, the real Pete Kirkwood. Pete, I believe you have a very interesting topic today.
Yes, we with this subject has it's exploded over the last short period of time amongst the IMC community, actually. But to fill anyone else in, we're talking about money
Mm,
because there's a lot of emotion people have with money and finances, wealth and richness, and they have thoughts attached to these words. Like they have understandings and relationships with these words that mean certain things to them. Everything from, you know, the ancient misquote of money is the root of all evil to the true quote of the love of money is the root of all evil, to more modern day quotes like greed is good from Gordon Gekko, right? People form relationships with this stuff, this currency, this money.
right.
And how does it work for a hero, right? What is a hero supposed to do with money? Is he supposed to be rich or is he supposed to be moderate and austere? How does that tie into the Stoic origins of a hero who preached frugality and things like that? Does that mean that money carries a moral consequence? I really wanted to get into this because unless you explore some of these questions when you're thinking about the hero archetype, you can find yourself limited in, if you can't conceive of a hero being a multimillionaire, you can't align those two things.
Right.
And if you don't want to be a multimillionaire, you really have to ask yourself why you don't want to be a multimillionaire. Money represents a form of power.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so do my words,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're all forms of power and they can all be used responsibly or irresponsibly.
Right.
If I see someone abusing my child, I'll physically do something about it,
Naturally.
or if I see an opportunity to help somebody where that they might not know something, I will communicate that and tell them. I'll use that power to help them. And it comes in the same way of money. So if someone's in a situation, you have financial power to help them, often that's a very good intention behind that. It's not always the right thing to do. We'll get into that. But that ability is no less of a power than anything else. And an example of someone who is a financial superhero is Batman, Bruce Wayne. He's he doesn't use his money for anything except good, right? He maintains an appearance, he maintains a facade and a civilian life,
Mm-hmm.
and enjoys the things that come along with it. But
Mm-hmm.
he's like, let's pour billions of dollars into this research program that's going to give us some technology that we can use to catch the bad guys.
Right.
He's not selfish with his money. He's willing to spend it for the common good. And that character is a rare archetype because so often the bad guy is painted as the rich, right? What is it? The crazy rich person who owns an island and a laser beam and a pool full of sharks and, very Goldfinger, James Bond sort of stuff.
I was thinking more of Dr. Evil from Awesome Powers with a laser
Exactly.
powered shark.
Right. And it's funny because Dr. Evil is the caricature of the traditional Bond villains like Goldfinger and stuff. And you see how that theme has
Mm-hmm.
become a meme in itself in culture.
Mm-hmm.
The evil rich guy. You look at even movies like Kingsman, where Valentine, he's black. He's not the typical white rich guy. He's the black rich guy, but he still plays that character of, well, I got the money and I'm decided I'm going to change the world and I'm rich enough to do it over everybody's whatever. So the hero who uses his money as a hero is quite rare. And part of that is because, money is quite a limited power. Like financial power is not many people out there can just go and buy somebody's problems away.
Yeah.
Occasionally you see it in things where someone's I think Happy Gilmore, where the entire point is to make the money to buy the house so his grandma doesn't have to sell it and she can still live there. And you see that's a really wholesome and really good use of money,
Hmm.
providing for his grandma. Your thoughts on
It's
that, Rob?
exactly my thoughts on that. Money is like a lot of things in our lives, a tool to be used. Now, I try to create my own philosophy without the influence of Stoicism, and the more I look into it, money is a tool to be gained and a tool to help you gain more tools or create opportunities. Now, from my own personal life, through investments, through smart saving methods, and simple occultic magic, I apply my money as a form of expression, meaning my money is directly linked to the rate that I upgrade myself.
Mm-hmm.
Money can make me healthier, but money can also make me unhealthy by my own hand. And
Very
in
much.
that line, should we take a simple fantasy word like the fantasy word of, the classical hero, him and his band, what do they do? They need to finance their campaigns. And they won't always have the right people for the job because usually they're generalists, they're survivors. They camp outside or in inns, meaning they don't have, you know, a specific space to stay always. And you see this in, Dungeons and Dragons a lot. You have to pay for an inn or you camp outside. Now, I don't know the last time you camped outside, but the last time I camped outside, I was being roasted by mosquitoes. And thus we come to a choice as per Wolf of Wall Street. Whatever life you have, it's hard. But if you have to choose between living the hard, poor life and living the hard, rich life, the rich life seems a bit more attractive simply because of the spending power. Now, taking stoicism into account, any riches that take away my dignity and integrity as a man will ultimately make me into a known character. But what is a man without a character? Just another boy. And if you give a boy a gun, he will do some stupid things. And that is how
Well
I
said.
see the archetypical evil rich guy. He's doing foolish things. Now, if you take Batman, I do think he's selfish, but in the sense of he has a personal connection to fighting crime to the point of it's pretty much an obsession,
Mhm.
healthy or not. But even if he would lose everything, even if Bruce Wayne would become poor Wayne, let's say, the character of the Batman doesn't stop.
Exactly.
Even if you put him in a prehistoric time for some more DC magic, he will still be Batman. And thus, it comes to my first conclusion: it shouldn't matter whether you have the money or not. You are still a man of character, a person with the prestige and the pride that you have built a powerful character you can play. Pardon, I still have to eat. And the money is a tool, like a sword, like a shield. It is a multi purpose tool. It's that Swiss knife that you can use anywhere, anyhow, by your own hand.
Mhm.
You can make friends, you can garner respect, you can garner status, but it's also in the way that you use it. If you go to a nightclub, right, a strip club, people know that you have money because there are also people that don't have money. But you can see who's well liked by the general staff and who is kind of being pitied on. If you come in with a strong body, with a well groomed face, smelling like, of course, money, because you smell fantastic, of course, and you carry yourself and your entourage with a certain amount of, you can't sit here. You're either invited or you're not, baby girl.
Yeah, that gravitas.
That gravitas, it's simply further supported with the money.
Correct.
Do you want to say something, Pete?
Yes, brother. This is where your people. I hope people listening to this are starting to see the money is it's just the same as any other power or resource or anything you
Mm-hmm.
have. It must not define you. Your ability to use it or not use it cannot define you. Just like if I'm physically weak, that shouldn't define me versus being physically strong. I should be a
Right.
man of character who does the right thing regardless. And shit, yeah, I've stood up and taken a hit for it before because it's the right thing to do. So with money, it's about the right thing to do. And it's interesting how you look into Batman. I see that sort of that look. What I was thinking is, what's an example of a real life example of how powerful money is used in the right way, used heroically? And a perfect example arises from the Black community in America.
Mm-hmm.
As Martin Luther King came up to power, for him to be able to get his message out, it cost money. He
Yeah.
needed supporters behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, there were a lot of successful Black families who were
Mm-hmm.
prepared to put their money into Martin Luther King. And they were small business owners and they'd started owning property and they'd
Mm-hmm.
started climbing somewhere on the ladder and they had some power.
Mm-hmm.
And the people on the other side who didn't want this to happen, the powerful elite, said, well, we're going to do something about that. And they didn't attack Martin Luther King. Well, they did. But they said in the future, to stop another Martin Luther King arising, we need to attack the wealth of the Black community so they can't fund another Martin Luther King into the spotlight. And that
Right.
led to a lot of rules and things which have systematically brought crack in and the ghettos in
Mm-hmm.
and the housing projects and all that kind of stuff. And anyone who knows that history knows about it. But it's a perfect example of how ordinary men and women, ordinary people who just wanted a better life for their family, their community, brothers
Mm-hmm.
and sisters, mothers, fathers, children, they put their money to good use behind
Right.
the right man. And that helped improve their life. That helped give them a voice. And they lent him their power through that aid. It's exactly the same thing as when Braveheart is standing there to a whole bunch of Scotsmen. He says, lend me your strength,
Yeah.
right? The army gets behind the hero and lends their physical power. That doesn't mean that a community can't get behind someone and lend money, or an individual can get behind someone and lend money. We've seen what happens when someone really powerfully does that in the world, like Elon Musk moving it around because he has that power,
Mm-hmm.
financial power. We're going to say, brother.
Yes. Musk is a great example because he has demonstrated not only is he rich, but there's just some degree of care towards his own community. He feels like he's the
Correct.
go to person for a specific type of innovation. I believe he and his friends made the Nothing Company or something like that, where they would create absolute dumb innovations for the sake of innovation. And I
Yeah,
remember
the
him,
Boring Company.
the Boring Company, exactly. And it's such a, from a marketing standpoint, I'm like, wow. Because I remember, I think it was a Joe Rogan podcast where a more light was shines on it, where Elon simply said, I did not want to sell this flamethrower. I made sure that if people wanted this, it was an extremely high price, and we were sold out in a day. He made about 10 or 15 flamethrowers, and they all sold for about $200,000 each, and the demand kept rising. Everything all right on your end, Pete?
Yeah, the internet's just being the internet. But I'm following you. Keep going.
Awesome, awesome. And it's people like Elon Musk and Richard Branson as well. Last time I went on vacation to Las Vegas, I had a pleasant surprise that the Hard Rock Hotel franchise was being bought by D. Rich Branson. Now, it's not necessarily a good or bad thing that he did it, but the Hard Rock Hotel has an extreme history within the tourist and music sector. And it has this certain avant-garde about it,
Yeah, a reputation.
a reputation. And it just made sense that Richard Branson would take it under his wing. Not only just because he has his money, but if you could imagine this old weathered man reliving his life, he would love to have a hotel chain that's music and most likely rock and roll team. And that is just some baller ass shit.
100%. And that's a really key thing, because when you think about the hero gets the reward. The hero has to put the work in, but the hero gets the reward. And what that is, that can be anything. It can be a hotel chain. It can be the car they've dreamed of their entire life, or the house they've dreamed of their entire life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever they want it to be. And we live in a society at the moment that's kind of said, nah, money's not cool. But if you get some, spend it on parties, women, and drugs.
Yeah, that's so stupid.
And I see this trend like sweeping through, where when you talk to people, you're like, hang on, wait a second. Do you actually want to get somewhere in life? Do you actually want to to make change happen? And they're like, nah, I kind of just want it to come to me. You're like, there's conflicting beliefs within them.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of want things, but they kind of don't want to pay for them,
Mm.
whether that's time, effort, money, work, whatever. And I see a lot of people setting themselves up for failure in their own heads, especially financially.
Mm.
And that's sort of led towards the event that I'm doing this week with a
Right.
rush around helping people understand money in a way that they make money, and they can turn money into money instead of turning money into nothing, right?
Exactly.
Into a memory. Because I'm not going to say that you shouldn't enjoy yourself and you shouldn't enjoy your money. But I am going to say that I saw Kendrick Lamar live in the VIP with a full 5-star experience at the hotel and everything, free, because it was a tax expense.
I see where you're going at. It. So let's say if there is a game called Money, the Money Game, he's playing it correctly.
Correct. Because it's people think that it's spend or save. And if that's the only 2 words you have to think about money, you're fucked. You're
Mm-hmm.
fucked. Because they both they both have massive downsides. I'm not going to get into the details. Like, let's save that sort of shit for the event.
Should
But
you
the
want to
point
know
is,
more, come to the event.
yeah, 100%. You know, drop me a DM, reach out to Ryan if you can't find me, whatever, and I will help you get there. I should probably point out when it is, right? It's
Yeah,
this weekend, 3rd of July, 5 p.m. California time, which is 4th of July, midday New Zealand time, which would be for you, Ryan.
I have absolutely no idea.
It would be midnight for you between Saturday, Sunday. It might be off depending on daylight savings.
Of course, of course.
So and look, there's the recording is available, and this is easily $1,000, but like this should be $1,000 event. But I want people to get this knowledge, and I want them to help themselves. And I know there's a lot of people out there who don't have the money to invest in themselves right now. Hint: the word invest. Didn't mention that before with save or spend. Invest in themselves right now, and 97 is achievable if it's literally within the next what are we, 21 hours. We might be more like 19 hours. There's still a special on, so reach out fucking quickly if you hear this.
It's a very great that you say this, because investing in yourself also means investing in your financial future.
Correct.
Should a hero want a legacy? All right, let's reframe that. No one wants a burned out hero. And to that along the same lines, no one respects a poor hero. I mean, look at the famous
True.
comic series of Old Man Logan. That's Wolverine, and he's being disrespected by some mutant hawkish kids because he doesn't have the money. I don't want to be old and not have the backing of wealth.
Yeah,
Even if I live a simple life, I refuse to be disrespected like that. Just because I'm quote unquote owe someone money. No. My system owes you money. I don't owe you shit.
you're right.
And it's in that we start to realize the importance of money. Money isn't evil, it's a tool to be used for your survival and your way of life. It is to support it.
It is.
And it's
You were gonna,
also.
and something you brought up when you said Old
Mhm,
Man Logan, right? That's a very, very powerful reference point, because Wolverine has that physical strength that is like, it's
mhm,
godlike. It's so fucking physically strong. But eventually, everyone runs out of physical power, right?
mhm,
Eventually, you are going to be old and frail.
mhm,
And we have to confront that. You're
mhm,
going to move slower. You're going not to be able to fight as good, that kind of stuff.
mhm.
And even your ability to speak, you'll start losing your voice and it'll start being harder and all that kind of stuff. But
Right.
as long as you have your mind and your wits about you, money is a power that you can continuously improve and grow.
Mhm,
Because the old person who has money still has power
mhm.
versus the young person who doesn't need money to have power. You have
Exactly.
your physical work you can put in, and it doesn't matter if like you have to do it right. No one ever got to being Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't get to being Mr. Olympia by going, you know what, it's getting late in my career now, I'd better put the work in so I can achieve that. No, he started early and simply doing the right things and doing it in a way that he really enjoyed and became about that, and it led to so many things.
I see.
And I see how people, they don't have a close relationship with money. They have like a estranged relationship with money. You know, it's like that dream girl that they can't get. It's like that car that they don't believe they could ever own, the house that they walk past without ever, this is the way people view it. Like it's something they can't have. When it's so accessible, it's, I mean, we haven't even got like the fourth one, right? Spend, save, invest. I'll only cover this in the event, and I'm only going to use the word once. It's invent. I never talk about inventing money, but it's a skill I know how to use. It's not easy to do, but I'll cover that later.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to Arash's perspective on that as well. So this power is so untapped,
Mm-hmm.
and so few examples exist of money being used by a hero heroically at a big level. You have to look for it. There's too many Scrooge McDucks and not enough Batmans, not enough people getting behind a Martin Luther King, not enough of that out there. You know, those two examples really have resonated with me. And I watched a movie called, I think it was The Banker, that came out in 2020 about when two black guys said, we are going to buy a bank and we are going to lend to the black community because they weren't getting it. You know, there was severe racism in that time.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, these days it's a little better. Not saying there aren't problems in the world, but these days, you know, the world is a different place, and there's different dangers with finances and different dangers with money and how to. No, the world doesn't want you to make money. It doesn't. You really have to fight it
Mm-hmm.
to get it to make money, and that is what a hero does, right? A hero does take on that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
What's your perspective about as you work with business, right?
Mm-hmm.
As an analyst, so you see that frontline battle
Mm-hmm.
of a hero on the financial war front daily.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What do you think about that, right?
Well, one, all business at the end of the day sink and swim on the money. And not just money, but more specifically the community of both clients who have the money and a right team to have it happen. And thus, during these business optimization sessions, what I managed to find out was it is not only doing the right things in the right order and completing a process, whatever process that may be, but also in finding the right people for the job. You need to have your team together. That's way more important than actually getting the money. The money comes when the money comes, but getting the right people as soon as possible that know how to operate specific parts of the process, be the marketing, the sales, the delivery, the customer service. There are people in this world that want you in their team, that you want to have part of your team. And the IMC community is a great example of that. Now, why I say communities, that's what a business ultimately becomes. You start with a tribal leader, then you have the tribe, the RPG team that goes out there and does campaigns because that's what projects are. It's a continuous campaign, it's a continuous process, it's a system of making sure we get the money for our services and get such happy clients that we get retention. We see this in any fantasy game.
Look, we see it in reality in
Mm-hmm.
business every single day. You just
Yep.
spelled it out perfectly. You know, anyone can see exactly that metaphor that you laid out. I think that's pretty much a perfect place to wrap it up. It's
Mm-hmm.
money is part of that process. You have to have the whole thing right. And as long as you have your head right about it, again, obviously, hit me up if you want more on that. That's it. You know, it's just a piece of the puzzle, an important one, but it's all about having the right structure, the right people, the right everything. And money is a tool that just doesn't get the right respect and isn't taught about well. And I think that's probably it. In conclusion, yes, a hero should be as fucking rich as possible so he can use that money as effectively as possible to do the most good. Just like he
Indeed.
should be as strong as possible, he should
Hmm.
be as smart as possible, he should be as well spoken as possible.
Correct. Absolutely agree.
Brilliant.
It's just another stat.
It's just another stat. I like it. I like it, brother. And I think that answers it for this episode.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. So let's go to the end credits. This has been the Hero Podcast 64, but of course, your success maker, your kingmaker, the real Pete Kirkwood, and our special host, Najim, with the ganja. What's up, bro? And of course, myself, Ryan G from ADS Allied Data Strategy. This has been the Hero Podcast. May your life never be the same. Hope to see you guys at Pete's event. And of course, good night.